The second stanza of Lycidas is an invocation of the Muses, the sisters of the sacred well Helicon. And in this invocation, the poet asks the blessings of the Muses and to favor him with lucky words so that he may give the proper tribute to the soul that is passing by Lycidas. So, as we see, the sisters of the sacred well, Helicon, are the Muses, and the poet invokes their blessings and he asks them to begin from the sacred well, that is, the sacred well of divine inspiration, of creative inspiration, so that the poet can write poetry. Begin from beneath the seat of Jove. Okay, so what springs from this under the seat of Jove or Jupiter, the god of sky, that is the sacred well of Helicon. Helicon, the sacred well, the spring, is supposed to be the creative inspiration that is needed for all artists to make the art as exquisite as they can. So that inspiration is what the poet is seeking from the sisters of the sacred well, that is the Muses. So this is a tradition of epic poets to invoke the blessings of the Muses so as to write a good poem and as exquisite as an art that could possibly be. And the poet requests the Muses to favor his destined urn with lucky words. So the destined urn here is the poet's, the fellow companion's death and the poem that he wants to pay as a tribute to his friend. So he wants the gentle muse to bless him with lucky words, and so that he may bid farewell, fair peace to the sable shroud, the black shroud. So the context is that of the dead friend, because the poet remembers that both Lycidas and himself were nursed upon the self-same hill, fed the same flock by fountain, shade and rill, meaning they had shared a childhood at the same place. They grew up together as children, and both of them grew up to be shepherds and fed the same flock, and they played and made merry in the same fountains, the same shade of the trees, and together they had a very merry life. And now he wants to bid farewell, eternal goodbye to his dead friend Lycidas. So the second stanza follows the Greco-Roman tradition of invoking the Muses. And as we proceed to the third stanza, we can see the poet is full of fond memories. How the poet and Lycidas had started their dawns and ended their evenings together. From morning till evening, they had spent their time together working in the fields, grazing their cattle, their sheep, and making songs and having fun. So we can see as the third stanza begins, he mentions how both of them were together when the morning opened its eyelids. Okay, the opening eyelids of the morn shows the daybreak, and together they drove in the fields, and together they heard the trumpet sounds of the flies, okay, which were feeding on the blood of the flocks, okay, and they together experienced the beauty of the star that rises in the evening star, brightly shining along with the passage of sun towards the west. Okay, the evening is mentioned as the westering wheel of heaven's descent, meaning the sun is setting, and together they had seen the setting sky as well. So from morning till evening, both of the friends were together, and all the while, okay, from daybreak to the setting sun, All the while, they always played music, okay, together. They sang songs, they wrote and recited poetry, and they played the oaten flute. And to their music danced satyrs and fauns, and even an old college mate, Demetrius, loved to hear their songs as well. So here we can see the mention of satyrs and fauns, the mythological figures, human figures with the horns of the goat, with horns and the goat legs and all that. So the satyrs and fauns danced to the music they played, and together they had fun from morning till evening. So, as the second stanza began, we see the invocation to the muses, and then the memory of the poet about the dead friend Lycidas begins. And the third stanza, he fondly remembers how both of them spent their days together in fun.